literally a month ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, the Good Project at Harvard had done a longitudinal study with around 30 schools across the world. Riverside is one of them. Surveyed our alumni, plus that batch of 2020. Basically, to get a sense of what are the most meaningful experiences of your school, what made the biggest difference, what did you learn, etc., etc. I have to say the results were fantastic, hugely validating and gratifying about what the alumni, of course, was saying in terms of what they received, in terms of personal accomplishment, following the passion, the ability to navigate uncertainty. All of that they learned because of these processes at Riverside, about the timetable. And I think when you looked at all of that in relation to some of the most, say, one would say, important schools across the world, it features very well to see that how our children in many ways were outperforming in terms of what they were saying in terms of data. So I think being audited in a way by an external, highly credible agency was massive validation. That all that we set up for 21 years was not just, we think it's a great idea, but it's fundamentally good common sense practices that we can now share with the world. Besides, of course, the data itself, around 10 years ago, we started the Riverside Learning Center, which effectively has captured everything we've done at Riverside, and we use it to help other schools shape what we're calling this I Can mindset. Well, in multiple levels, if I'm looking at design for change, which is just taking the framework, Feel, Imagine, Do, Share, and using it as a student agency, we're in 63 countries. It's the biggest movement of its kind. I think over 2 million children have been using it to look at how they can craft projects of change and how they can make the world a better place. More immersive and whole school, we are working now in 9 countries with the I Can school. So that is the I Can belief. It's just the framework. It's a lighter touch, which is designed for change. But the I Can schools, we're now in 9 countries and we're working with over 50 schools. I have to say, and honestly, while there is this great push to individualization, I think the collective good comes from collaborative work. So I'm a great fan of the collaborative and not just the individual. So I feel while your technology can serve a more personalized learning. So there's a personalization versus individualization. I'm more a fan of personalization and then collaborative work. I think that distinction is important. So I'm a strong believer of the fact that the idea of working towards a larger goal and knowing that your role on the planet is to serve a larger good has a great purpose and it's the driving force of how we learn. So I think COVID, for whatever else it did, I think it really harnessed the fact that we are one human race and humanity is one. And only when humanity had this massive crisis did we actually rally around, put the collective will, and actually come up with a vaccine in less than a year. It's unheard of, right? That means that collective will can be harnessed. The one piece that I feel always the struggle is that we're still talking about what does it mean to educate children when we know fundamentally deep down it starts with the heart. Okay, we must be engaged. We must do projects that are meaningful. We must not do rote memory. None of this is something we're unaware of. Yet it takes that brave leader to put it into action. So when you ask me what is the one advice, I would say believe in that courage to do what is right. I think somewhere we get caught up in pleasing parents, organizations, everybody else, but reaching the child. So whenever I have gone in and seen remarkable work, I've often seen a remarkable leader, a leader who's joyful, who is courageous, who is who puts words into action. So I think that's what I would say. I think leaders can be bridges or barriers to change. So if the barrier comes and says, oh my God, children have lost learning, I'll only go back and remove everything else and just get them to learn again. It's not going to be the answer, right? It's not going to be the solution. So how will that balance work? How will we learn that if children do not feel strong, they're less likely going to learn anyway? I mean, we know all the research tells us that. So I feel that that's really where we need to be braver. I think that children are watching us. They are going to ask us 20 years down, what did we do during COVID? Did we rise to the challenge and do what was right? Or did we succumb to the same dysfunctional system of grades and monodimensional work? So So I think COVID has given us the opportunity to be brave. For Design for Change, it's free. All the material is open source. I would encourage them to go onto dfcworld.com. I'm sorry, .org, DFC, which is Design for Change, dfcworld.org. Just wherever you are in the world, if you don't find a country partner that already exists in our list of things, reach out to us and help us become a country partner or take the material to your class. It's all open source. The toolkits are there. We have it in 17 languages. I would encourage you strongly not only to use it, but be inspired by the stories of change. We have over 30,000 stories of children telling us they've made the world a better place. I would use it as a massive space of inspiration. So I would say use the platform as inspiration. There are lesson plans and resources that you can easily take into your class, right? That's for them. If you want to do the ICANN School, which is a more immersive program, on the Riverside Learning Center, reach out to us and we're happy to engage with you as well. Every continent, so Latin America, the Americas are taken care of, Africa, the Balkan countries, Europe, Middle East, Asia, Southeast Asia. Oh, we're everywhere. We're everywhere. Yes. Universally, the Feel, Imagine, Do, Share has shown that it's universally applicable. That's the beauty of these 4 steps. Empathy, the heart, every child has. Imagination, every child has. The ability to act, every child has. The ability to tell stories. So Feel, Imagine, Do, Share is so universal because it's context driven. It's not about content. So wherever you are in the world, if you start with feeling, then you imagine. So it's so beautiful in terms, it's so simple in its implementation. So, but we don't have a partner in Australia. So I'm more than happy to say if somebody reads this, if they can reach out to us and start a chapter in Australia, I should be more than grateful.